All right, folks, we're back for the finals of the Corsair Cup, and it is going to be not a ZVZ for the first time in like 2 months. Whoop, whoop! But of course, before we get into this, reminder that this is, of course, sponsored by Corsair, and if you guys want to check out their gear links down below, please do click the ones on our Twitch page, as it lets them know that you came from BaseTradeTV. We've been a little bit slow in giveaways, but we've done a bunch of giveaways with them in the past, and of course, what we'd love most if you would straight up buy their gear, but anyways, they do support this tournament, and they sponsor us, so kudos to them. But in the bottom left side, to kick off this best-of-5 finals, it is going to be the European defender, the Polish pride, the green Gatsby, Elazer.
The green Gatsby?
I couldn't think of a word to start with G, man. Leave me alone.
Okay. In the top right, as the red Terran, it is KeeN. Killer KeeN?
Yeah, you know what? You don't even get to judge my intros. You never even give good intros, man.
I want to say that so many of the words I'm thinking of don't start with K, they start with C.
What about cool Korean words?
I don't know enough cool Korean words.
No, then you are stuck.
Useless.
Oh, okay, that too. Sure, I said stuck, but go with useless. Now, a national base comes down for KeeN, not so unsurprising. Dusk Towers does have this really nice safety base that you can take no matter what race you are. It's worth noting Elazer didn't, however, because this can sometimes really screw with scouting. And one of the things I think, whether it's a Reaper or an SCV scout that you're going to want to find out as a Terran player, is first off, is there an early roach warren to look out for? And then secondly, 3 bases. So when KeeN comes in here initially, he may not actually dive straight back here because he knows with the timing that this was the natural. The question is, there's the SCV coming in to check, what comes up after this now? Because if Elazer just takes a regular third, then this game goes on as per usual and you don't have to worry about anything abnormal. But if you see a roach warren get plopped down or anything really weird, you really have to go on high alert immediately. And this Reaper almost gets picked off right off the bat. Ugh.
That would have been bad.
The KeeN, please don't have used up all your mojo already.
I do want to note that Elazer, I guess, is... he's playing against a Korean Terran, which means that they can be cheesy with proxy racks. So he had a drone scout going for quite a while, searching for a proxy Reaper. I don't think many people are going to proxy Marines other than like KeeN on this map, but even then, you know, that too. So Elazer might be anticipating some cheese, at least in one of these games. It's best of 5, so that's a lot of chances for KeeN to throw out an early barracks of any type, especially if we go into maps like Arena, which we almost certainly will. Elazer goes for a third hatchery, and KeeN goes for a third CC, a very quick one too. So he goes for a tank, which is pretty that's gonna be your best defense. What would be problematic is if it was a Nidus Worm, because it is just a tank, not a starport with a medevac. But there's no Nidus Worm, so he's fine.
Actually, it's kind of funny you bring that up. Nidus play has been coming back recently, and I think with a map like Dusk Towers, there's certainly something to be concerned of. But I feel the thing with the Nidus Worm too is it's really, not only is it difficult to scout, but it's really hard to like metagame your opponent and be like, oh yeah, I've played Elazer 400 times, I know he's going for a Nidus Worm, because KeeN doesn't normally play on Europe.
That's our knowledge. It's like secret account because he loves playing against Europeans.
It's just like, I love playing against foreigners. Not only is it free money, it's free ladder points. Ha ha ha, I'm Korean.
Yeah, that's happens all the time. You know, what KeeN is doing is very interesting. So no starport is it's odd to see, to be honest. Like a quick third CC is not at all. You know, you can go third CC before factory even, and I would be okay, it's Dusk Towers, like do what you want. But to see no starport after going for a factory, like bothering to go to a tank, it just feels odd. I mean, it's like middle of the road, kind of later tech, but some good macro, and he's even going for double engineering bay. And it's, I guess, the safest build you really do have. At least when it comes to defending a ramp. Now it's a little bit more problematic if there was a roach push.
Yo, shout out to the people, by the way, who are making the Commander KeeN references in chat. Commander KeeN and like Little Nemo were like this shit growing up, man. Did you ever
I
play
totally know what
either
you're
of those
talking
games?
about. Nope.
What about Halloween Harry?
Nope.
What about Jazz Jackrabbit?
Nope. What game? What system was this on?
This is like PC. This is like early.
Oh, that's why.
DOS
I never
games.
played any PC games until I was still StarCraft 2, really.
Yo, actually, legit, Jazz Jackrabbit was probably like my favorite game growing up. That and Commander KeeN, I played relentlessly. I like had to beg my parents, like, can I play computer today? I want to save the Jackrabbit.
I played Oregon Trail, and I played Syndicate, which I never understood, but I tried playing. And I played a game that was basically amusement park.
Oh, in school, did you ever play Math Blasters?
Of course you played that in school.
Math Blasters was amazing. Okay, that was like the predecessor to this typing bullshit we're into now as adults, right? Like,
of course everyone played that. But I just remember the Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it wasn't Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like, it was before that series was out, so it was something named completely different. And I just remember having a very creepy mascot that came out of the television set and kidnapped the children to make them make.
What the fuck?
It's actually what happened in the. It's like the intro to the game. So, anywho, check out the minimap right now. So besides Elazer's creep spread, which is as expected, I think, for Dusk Towers, the very little aggression. Look at all the dots.
Yeah, that's
links everywhere.
Over. Yeah, noticing that he's got Lings catching every position. So a couple Overlords over there, Lings over here on the side. Like, Elazer is set up to catch any drops KeeN may be sending on the map. But yeah, the hilarious thing is, like, this started off with a later starport. There wasn't medevacs out really for the tanks, so he doesn't really have a lot of medevacs now. So there's not really that much drop action happening. He's finally gonna load up 2 to go out, but this, I don't know. This is gonna be interesting. We already have Infestors coming out, by the way, as well as a very quick Hive.
Yeah. You know, Elazer went for roaches, but almost not really. I had a roach warren, got 10 roaches, but is still dedicating to his upgrades for his Lings and, well, eventually for those ultras, of course, too. Now, this was scouted. The only thing that would make this more annoying for KeeN is if Elazer had Burrow and was burrowing all these Lings. I played against a guy, like, 2 years ago who did that. I had to, like, look at the replay to find out if he was hacking or not. That's just obnoxious, because you're not going to scan everywhere.
Can we real talk about this 2-year grudge you've had about that, though? Like, that's more interesting to me.
Not just a 2-year grudge. It's a 2-year, like mystery as to why more Zergs don't do that. If they're going to spread out their Lings and they're going to get Burrow, which Burrow's not as, you know, as much of a given, but still, like, if they do play that way, then why aren't they burrowing them everywhere so they can scout all this without the Terran ever knowing how? Like, why does he keep seeing my drops?
I've always loved that the concept of Burrow being technology, by the way. Like a wooden stick is not technology. You don't have to research that. Dig into the ground. These are fantastic fungal growths, by the way. Holds the medevacs in place, so it gets locked down by the corrosive biles, but still 2 medevacs slip by while this is going on.
The drops aren't bad, but they also aren't game-ending, and that's really what you want to do versus someone who's about to get to ultras. That's a nice no cancel there. But it's not the main push of tanks, and in fact, KeeN is not even, like, pushing out to take a 4th, which is a little worrying too. His 4th is a little less than halfway done. Doesn't want to leave the safety of his gigantic wall at his 3rd base, but he is going to have to acknowledge that the drops aren't ending the game and he's not going to push. Then ultras will come out, and he's going to have to play that late game, which is possible, but difficult.
Well, I guess the question is, what's the answer going to be? With ultras, we've seen several different types. And we can quote different players for their strategies as well. I think at the end of the day, everybody agrees universally that Ghosts do the most damage most of the time effectively, but with fungal growths in play already, and like having seen those infestors out so soon, KeeN may end up staying away from that strategy, which leaves you with, like, what, Liberators, tanks, or Focus Fire, none of which are great alternatives. They all work, but they're just not great alternatives.
So apparently this game that I was talking about is literally just called Theme Park.
Literally just called Theme Park.
What
and
a
you couldn't remember a game
what
called
a name.
Theme Park.
I feel like that's why I couldn't remember, because I would have thought that was the describer, not the title.
What's that thing? It, like, adds numbers for you when you input them on the computer, and sometimes
A
it does division. Actually, you had to do the adding. It didn't do it for you. Come on, Samgo. The infestors up here do fungal several Marines, but it looks like the ultras will finish the job. Pushing the middle of the map, just clean up creep for the time being, so nothing too amazing going on here. And while Twitch Alerts is being a scumbag and not updating, guys, we did get a $10 donation coming from Lib75. It says, believe that guys find it funny to have Zombie with white hair, but I simply can't do that to her. So make it red and be great.
Oh my god, Rurikar actually photoshopped the hair colors onto me. That is not a confidence booster.
You could just take, like, the Zombie of emote and probably, like, put it underneath some shit. Where's that on Twitter? I'm gonna go
Yeah,
look
it's
that
on
up.
Twitter. It is not a confidence booster, I gotta tell you.
Are you retweeting it? And if you're not, why not?
Nope, 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 nope.
Okay, by the way, that will put red now in the lead by $5, so 85 to the 80 of white. White. Middle of the map, the engagement coming down though. Trying to make a command center. I guess I don't think this will be a planetary for right here, but it is still some nice Sim City to sit around. Tanks and Liberators are set up quite supremely, but once Corruptors and Broodlords come out, those start getting dealt with. There was an Ultralisk drop to the main. I am sorry for missing that. What the fuck? But it does get cleaned up, and the Sim City is why you don't see people do this a lot. It did kill about 8 SCVs, though, so not terrible. Looks like we got more drops going off by Elazer, so since if I can't break your front defense, I'll try and go around it.
Well, this is not as I anticipated this game going, with the drops at the very least. But otherwise, I think it's normal, like, you know, trying to get to Ghost, trying to get to Liberators. The Dragon Claws is a little funny to see, but even then, okay, fine. They can be helpful.
Overlord's dropping another Ultralisk, by the way. I still think this should, like, hang underneath it like a Thor does for a medevac. Like, just wrap its tendrils around it and try and pick it up that way. Because there's no way an Ultralisk fits inside of this. Watch this. Oh, my God. Ugh. Just imagine that baby, am I right? Women. Oh, the pain I just caused you by imagining that. I'm so sorry. This medevac is going to have to go back home. Ravager's set up here to deny things. I got to tell you, Elazer really does have a great handle on this game.
Well, eventually it is going to come down to, like, big army versus big army, and a bunch of Ravagers over here. And KeeN still has a decent shot at taking a very good engagement with that. So if the tanks are siege up against a ledge, if the ghosts actually get their snipes off, I don't think the Liberators will survive if the Corruptor count's high enough. But even then, if they survive too, that could be something that KeeN could really work with. But it is going to be hard to both take an engagement as good as that and push across a map, like a big map with creep spread that's still continuing to spread.
Yeah, you have to spread like 4 or 5 more times.
I mean, I said it twice or 3 times, didn't I?
Well, that's what I was asking for more. Didn't get enough.
Creep spread, and then...
I didn't get enough for the first taste. This planetary burning, a bit unfortunate, because this is actually something that's really important to get up and running, but the Corruptor is going to ensure that it dies. Pungal Growth is going to make sure there's no kiting going around over here. Even the Liberators stuck and forced to fight the Corruptors in a situation where they cannot stop and fight the Corruptors. That Ultralisk that got dropped to the main is still going ham in the backside, by the way, cleaning up all the SCVs. I mean, it's an expensive as fuck drop, but it's killing. It literally killed all the workers. So, I mean, cool.
Well, sure. Mass scans going down, I guess, to see if there's a greater spire.
He knows about all the bases, though. Like, he knows his opponent's on half the map, but I guess he did hopefully see the greater spire. Actually, where is the greater spire? Here in the natural. So there's 11 Broodlords morphing in right in those front lines. And while the tanks and the Liberators have done a great job zoning out the Ultras up to this point, the biggest thing the Broodlords are going to do is either kill the tanks or force them to unsiege. Either way, kind of opening the doorway for some units to get underneath this.
Well, KeeN, this is this time to shine, or his army's time to shine. If he can take out this army, it's very expensive, and Elazer doesn't have that big of a bank to replace Broodlords, Ultras, and Corruptors.
The Ghosts might have been able to snipe this, but they just end up burning a couple of snipes, and some get even canceled as they fall back. So these Broodlords are going to be truly, truly difficult to deal with. He's going to unsiege, he's going to pull back, but not with the siege tanks, only with the Liberators. I guess he really wants to focus on the air, so Snipe's going to go down where they can. Liberators coming out with some splash, but it's not that much, and this is kind of beautiful to watch. This KeeN just falls apart.
Well, he had all the right units, but the scenario wasn't set up well enough. You know, he didn't find the Broodlords out of position. He didn't get free snipes on Corruptors.
Yeah.
He took out the ground army okay. You know, almost the Ultras are dead.
The Liberators are kind of working now, but it is almost like too little too late. Because the worst part about this is, okay, you left with a bunch of Liberators, you lose the Broodlords, you lose the Ultras, but now you can flood Lings. Lings and Corruptors at this stage will probably win the game.
Yeah, I agree. Just run past the Liberators. Don't have to deal with them. KeeN, if he had 1,000 minerals in the bank and a 5th base set up, and maybe even, like, you know, his main had taken one of these gold bases, think he'd be fine. But unfortunately, none of that is actually happening, and he's only taking this 5th base now with the regular orbital commands. So it's not going to be very helpful in defense. And he's just not going to get back up to max. Elazer can barely get back up to max, and he had a huge bank behind this.
It's like 7 bases behind this.
Yeah. 75 drones means like really good consistent income too. Now the ultras get shreked. That was questionable from KeeN.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or sorry, from Elazer. Sorry.
There's also no transfuses burned. I just want to point out these queens still have almost full energy on some, so a bit of a mistake there. Because while the Liberators deal like what 95 damage a shot, there's still 6 or 7 transfuses that can keep that ultra alive, the Broodlord's alive. I mean, Snipe does a lot of damage at burst, and that was what made that so scary. Oh, the Widow Mines get some nice splash damage on the Corruptors, but is that enough? Snipe's still picking up what it can. Broodlord's still being a problem, but KeeN's army supply.
It's not that good, but neither is the lasers anymore. It's a lot of very expensive good units, but ones that can go down like if they are out of position once, you know? Like these Broodlords, they get away from their Corruptors, maybe they go down, but the Liberators, they kind of figure it out, but they can't really find a good position. They are still dying to the Corruptors.
The death gasps of ghosts are some of the most horrific things in the game. Actually, what's horrifying to me is like in Overwatch, they've got like that death gasp. So like when you're almost dead, your character will go like, and you're just what the fuck was that, man?
That's my notification to make Tracer rewind.
Okay, well, that's gonna put us in game number 2. Congratulations to Elazer actually taking that first map. It's gonna be KeeN's pick for game 2. We're gonna go to a small break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're back. Game number 2 of this best of 5 finals match. He's actually down 1 currently in the bottom right side. It is going to be the blue Korean competitor KeeN.
In the top left as the orange Zerg, it is Elazer.
Polish in defending Europe with the European servers we tend to host the Corsair Cups on, so he's up 1-0. Nice to see. I gotta say though, on Dusk Towers, that's a map I usually, in most instances, give to the Terran. Because I feel like Zerg in the late game can be considered disadvantaged. I wouldn't say that they are necessarily, because obviously it has to do with a lot of the play stylings of both players. But I mean, if there's a large amount of ghosts, if there's 5 bases up with planetaries, you know, like Terran is really hard to break in that situation. I think one of the greatest things for Elazer, and I would hope to see him be able to replicate this throughout the series, was he got into KeeN's armor and like beneath the defenses before it was really cemented in place.
Yeah.
I mean, the drops, for example, I mean, ridiculous but effective.
Yeah, you know, I brought that up for seconds, and that's KeeN didn't have a 5th base or a 6th base that was like, you know, even hidden, right? Like he did not have everything set up as you would want. If you're forced into that position, which that's, I guess, the only questionable part, is that KeeN was not blindsided by that game. He wasn't like, oh god, he went to ultras and I didn't expect that. Like, he knew once his drops started to do wrong and you know, they weren't doing that much, and he added on that 4th planet, or the 4th command center, like, he knew he was going to go to a late game. So he could have tried to set up better, but that's something that Elazer's drops probably threw him off. So I guess he was surprised by that, and he was never able to really get up to that super crazy tier 3 tech, where there was crazy amounts of liberators or crazy amounts of ghosts.
The map, Lings did get picked off by the Reaper that's going to scout, so this will get a little bit of free reign, as there's only queens to stop it. Does need to scout that Roach Warren, though. Queen's over here from Elazer because he really wants to get those extra shots, and this will actually spook KeeN away from jumping right up to see this. But confirming the Roach Warren's down is a pretty big deal. And you're not, like, let's be clear, for Terran players at this point of the game, you're not worried about some, like, dedication of, like, 18 Roaches coming across the map. You're worried about 3 to 4 Ravagers, more specifically. That can take down supply depots, that can pick off tech labs and reactors, and that can, of course, pressure your natural base pretty easily. So, I like that the bunker's coming down, but I like the second bunker coming down even more so, just to be super safe.
This is the super safe option as a second bunker. One would probably
incoming transmission.
Rock's being broken down too.
Damn, BMR really wants white hair, and I feel bad. We're like bleeding him dry. He's already donated like, gotta be like what, $80 today?
White was still winning, man.
No, it wasn't. Red took the lead. Remember, I told you that. $22.63 to come from Myanmar, and he says, we, white. That's kind of like the way I read that. Kind of reminds me of like this like shitty monster truck ads, like Sunday, 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 only on the Tacoma Dome.
Alrighty, well, this push, as said, it's not super scary, it's not super dedicated, and the second bunker wasn't even really necessary, as you can see.
Tank does get picked off. That already makes this attack worthwhile. The Overlords need to be focused on a little bit sooner, or the Overlord, excuse me, needed to be focused on sooner, because it was the only reason the Ravagers could shoot up. High ground vision's a pretty big deal. But for KeeN, let's be honest, this wasn't incredibly devastating. He was expecting more than what was coming. He did play this safe. It cost him a tank, sure, but not exactly getting to his working line and not really disrupting anything too important. But those Ravagers, man, so deadly. Like, you really just cannot underestimate their strength.
So another reason why this is a pretty big deal. Oh, he's actually just going straight across. Was that, I do believe it was KeeN, wasn't it? Or maybe it was Tank that went for the specific tank drop / push on the third base and abused the rocks with that medevac. And I think he even got a second medevac, so we continue microing it. Now it's doing the exact same thing. It's just a push, not a drop. So it's not as surprising if there was a Xel'Naga taken, but there wasn't. Elazer did not anticipate such a quick counter, I believe. He didn't have many units. He was maggering, setting up his third base and getting to a lair. It's Queens and just just 2 roaches, a Ravager. This is not a lot. The medevac boosts over the 1 tank. Again, this could have been 2, and in fact, it's going to be 3 with this thrown and popping out, but does need to make sure that survives.
Right, and those pickups are pretty clutch. Now, KeeN had some really good pickups when he's playing against Zhuge Liang. I mean, those 3 tanks that lived on Arena lived forever, but losing the Marines for this push, like, okay, you can fall back behind the wall, but there's no real damage outside of, like, 1 tank. I mean, that's easily transfused. That's easily picked off. Gets the Queen. Not bad. Resources lost still favoring Elazer through this harass, but it's worth noting this hasn't really spooked him too much. He's still droning while this goes on. He's getting upgrades. Like, he has not really been, oh my god, I need to make 18 roaches right now. Like, I'm gonna die.
After the initial push, he really calmed down. Because, of course, 3 roaches is not going to be enough, but now it's definitely a nice amount. So this is no longer something that he has to be scared of, and KeeN can no longer depend on it to do damage. He does go back to macroing and back at his home as well. His third CC is finishing up. He's got Tech Labs finally being added on. Again, it could be a problem to not have stim or combat shields anytime soon.
Nice catch with that last Ravager shot. But yeah, back at home production is in a bit of a wonky spot. I think every Terran player's felt the burn, but if you're not Terran, you haven't. Just how tough it is to not just throw down 5 extra barracks and get the reactors added on, but then actually start producing said Marines. Like right now, the army supply for KeeN is 25. Really should not be. It should be much higher.
It's starting to get boosted here, and the real concern is something that is, you just have to wait. You can't chrono boost it. You can't make it a priority. You just wait for Stim to finish before you really are confident in pushing out. Although KeeN on Arena did push out like 30 seconds before Stim finished. I feel like Arena is a better map for that, though.
That kind of reminds me, like, actually, I'll hold the thought. It's drama related. It's not game related. Tank gets picked up here pretty quickly, so not going to lose these ones right off the bat, but that's still a significant amount of roaches. The Marines up here are just kind of a bit helpless, nothing to really do but die.
I guess they wanted to just walk into the third and shift click on drones, I suppose. Yeah,
I mean, for KeeN, the intention was to have a laser focus on the tank, so why wouldn't you? They're such big threats, but not what happened here. Well, this goes on. Shandeth donates $11.32, and they say, I'm with Riomar. I think white will look good on Zombie Grip, smiley face. This is like catapulting white to the lead, by the way. Like, I would just want to put, like, full disclosure, guys. I'm personally in favor of, like, either, like, red or, like, maybe even black, but this is, like, white is now at $114 with that donation.
This is only the first day. Maybe, next Monday we'll have red head fans.
See, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I don't get to look at your camera most of the time. I don't live with you in person. Like, I don't actually have to see you, so I don't really care how bad it looks.
That's why I didn't care about your stash. Like, I don't see you ever.
Yeah, so, like, I can, look as what did you say? Pedo? Pedo as much as I'd like. But, okay, down here to the south, this will drive back the roaches. That's not going to be too bad. He's still trying to get some damage done with the tanks. He's got a medevac sneaking off to the main. Oh, excuse me, actually 2 medevacs sneaking off to the main. That's a bigger detail.
That's pretty important, and you know, Sim and Combat Shells have both finished up, so they're gonna get a lot of drone kills. The entire Roach army is out of position. They're trying to break down the rocks and chase those tanks.
This is kind of shout outs to KeeN though, and like the amount of control required to make all this happen. Like not the drops in the main, obviously he's gonna set and forget them, but the tanks and dancing around it, building bunkers and getting his defenses at home all built up behind this, keeps those units alive. Starts unloading over here on the right side. Elazer, by the way, revealing that he has tunneling claws. Oh well, there's the caster curse because I started complimenting him. Elazer, though, kind of revealing now that he has tunneling claws through the little spikes on the back, so something that KeeN's going to be aware of, but he was. So he starts putting a bunch of random-looking turrets down, but this is for detection. He doesn't want roaches sneaking underneath the army and popping up in his natural without his knowledge.
Yeah. Well, you know, he gets tunneling claws, and he's still taking on roaches. No infestation pit quite yet. I would like it rather if KeeN did, or Elazer did not push at all. Poking, prodding, trying to get tunneling claws, you know, sure, okay, but if he...
He said burrows so late, I didn't realize that wasn't done.
Oh, yeah, well. If he actually pushes into KeeN's defense, I think he just risks, like, losing the game by losing an entire army to a pretty nice tank count and bio count, and not being able to defend.
This is still the entirety of his army, and KeeN is split up around the map, so the army supply here does severely favor Elazer. This is a great engagement, plays out here in the open, big spread out area for Zerg, nothing too worried for him, but does lose this base and is forced to come back home.
Okay, so he did not quite see if tunneling claws came into effect there. Oh, well, now it does. That's funny. So he scanned kind of, you know, almost preemptively as well as just in case. Finds the roaches, that's really nice. Still has the tanks alive too. Oh, run away from his first files. And this army supply, like, it might be nice for Elazer, but it's not really considering the power of bio and tanks, and Elazer does get pushed back and to lose all of his Ravagers.
That's scary, but he's going to kill a lot of SCVs for this, because on the other side, he does get into KeeN's very important third. Now this can be driven back, but the roaches came in because the depots were down. Burrow up here in the top right. Don't know if he realizes he killed everything. No, he realizes it wasn't, so he does scan to confirm the rest of those kills.
Well, now is KeeN's time to shine. He just took on a Roach Ravager army without 2-2, and as he killed it, 2-2 finished up. So this is really where Bio's going to be very strong at even upgrades, especially if he can get to 3-3. And with Elazer still trying to pump out roaches, like his larva was his main problem here, not his bank. GG.
All right, well, some mentions can be made. I mean, he did stay on what was just tier 2 tech. Like, we didn't have the advancement of, like, fungal growth to pair up with that. No spire in sight. I mean, it's kind of expected. I'm just more astonished because KeeN, I felt, did really terrible harass that game. And you had made a point that I agree with, like, where I think if Elazer just kind of chilled out at home and continued to defend, it may have been better for him. I don't know. But we're going to go to another break, guys, as we are in the finals, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you for game number 3 in 2 minutes. I keep forgetting about this stupid thing. Oh, yeah, someone's asking what are the hair color options. Basically, these 7 up here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are just going to jump right into action here for game number 3. It is tied up 1-1 here in the best-of-5 finals for this week's Corsair Cup. Now, I actually should mention before we do flare intros, there's going to be a small hiatus in some of our events coming up. I kind of forgot, what with Texas approaching ever so quickly, we do plan to cast as much and a bunch of stuff as we can leading up to our departure for Texas, but April 29th to May 9th, we're going to be gone. Now, we are planning to try and bring some equipment with us and hopefully host/cast things from an Airbnb. But just in the eventuality that doesn't work out, some of this stuff may go on hiatus, but make no mistake, guys, we'll try and make up for it once we get back home. So a lot of stuff going down in the next month or two, what with DreamHack and what is Ting Season 2 starting up and all this other good stuff. We got so much on the horizon, so this was a bit of a slow month. Might be a slow week or 2 in the future, but we have a lot planned going forward. That being said, let's hop into these intros. And in the bottom right side of Breon Terraces, we've got the orange Zerg. It is Elazer.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, it's KeeN. The drone went in, please. Okay.
Well, I mean, there was no bottom wall, though, so...
Well, it wanted to attack the SCP, and
This is like my neighbor's shitty gate, where they have this just in the driveway, but then there's like nothing to. There's no sides to the gate, so you can just walk around it. Like,
right?
I kind of feel like the more I think about it, that gate though, and I want to make fun of it because it is just like, for those who can't picture this, it's just the front of a gate. Like, if there's no third walls or fourth wall, like it's just the front of a gate. And I imagine maybe these are the type of people who got really upset at people who pull into their driveway to turn around, and they're just like, you know what? If we put a gate there, the cars can't pull in and do that shit anymore.
That'll show them. Well, speaking of the future, I suppose, well, the very near future, we also have our Overwatch tournament happening tomorrow.
How many teams we've signed up for that?
7 have fully confirmed, and 2 more are pending invites.
Nice, that should be quite fun. So yeah, again, tomorrow's gonna be a day where we didn't have any StarCraft in the first place. I know, I feel so bad. Like it's almost like my constant reassuring is almost too much. Like, you know, he does protest too much, but I do want to just really, because StarCraft fans, you've helped us get where we are. We've built this channel on StarCraft. StarCraft's not going anywhere. But tomorrow's a day where there is no tournaments going on. There's nothing for us to cast, so it works perfectly that we can start filling our days with other things, like whether it's the odd ladder session like we were doing a couple weeks ago, or maybe it's Overwatch tournaments. I'm really excited to just be able to do more than what we normally do on the channel, and Overwatch is a great opportunity for that. It's really fun.
Yeah, so that'll be happening at 1 p.m. EST, so come back if you like, you know, kind of a bit of mayhem. But
yeah, same time as today, but
super
tomorrow.
Fun to cast. Exactly. And the reason we brought that up is something else is happening in this game, so...
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a slow start. But that's okay. Priant Terraces does have these gold bases, and that's the point of these slower starts. You really... I feel like there's some all-ins you really want to pull off. Like, we saw Kawaiian try and do the quote-unquote Kelagod build, where he went double factory, armory, just pumped Hellies. Which, by the way, I've done and won on ladder with. It is such a scumbag move. It's not like an easy win, but it does get you so much damage. But that being said, there's just not a lot of variety in builds because a lot of emphasis goes on getting these gold minerals mining ASAP for both players.
Yeah, I remember that. I was there. You can't say differently. I guess we usually note this because it is something to note. Hellions have been made. Now this isn't too surprising. Again, like they're like 50-50. Sometimes you see Hellion builds, sometimes you see factory, like, you know, tank builds. But the Hellions combined the medevac of Marines. You know, you'd think there's an armory somewhere. There's not. So either the Marines are gonna get dropped here and just gonna do like straight up damage, or they may trade out and lift the Hellions to kill drones in the main base.
I mean, there's no armory to go with this, so it is just Hellions. Maybe the Elazer thinks it's otherwise. Maybe this was intentional. I don't know, but the Marines have got the damage. If the Hellions can keep the Lings off the Marines can tear down Queens.
It was so fun. I mean, so it is questionable. Like, would Hellbats actually do better? Because they have to reach the Queens. That's where like Concave of Queens really helps out. But this is a situation where, at least whenever I do stuff like this, I'm just like, why didn't I go for Hellbats for once? Like, come on now. Because I would assume roaches, especially on Priant Terraces, where roaches are the way to go. Like, you very rarely see mutas, even like a 2-base muta into roach. You just don't see them. So to get any damage done, I think was nice for KeeN, and he did get, you know, quite a bit. He just definitely disrupted the macro of Elazer, but, you know, got 2 queens, I think. Nope, just 1 queen. I got one really low, almost got her.
Yeah, I mean, killing the Lings, of course, more Lings just really wasn't worth it, frankly. But either way, for KeeN's sake, I guess he didn't lose everything. The medevac did stay alive, which is kind of an important element of this. But one of the things I'm more worried about is the fact that, you know, Elazer's comfortably gotten to 4 bases despite this aggression and despite this push. KeeN's setting up his 3rd right now, but I mean, I don't think he can secure it with how little army he has on the map. Also, can you hear that? It's so fucking loud.
I can hear something. I don't know what it is.
Okay, I'm going to mute my mic because it's going to get louder for the next few minutes, so good luck soloing this.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say that KeeN, like, he saw the roaches coming out to, you know, as he finished his attack, and was obviously very paranoid of a huge roach all in. He had like 3 bunkers on the way, but canceled all of them. Unless he'd be stuck in that Engineering Bay corner there. That sucks. It's unfortunate. The Liberated Eyes mining over here, so that's pretty nice. KeeN does need to get his own 3rd on location, though. It's been done for a while, and it is lifted over right now. For once, his stim is not super late. It's the build that he chose, so it is far ahead of his 1-1, and that's going to lend itself to better drops, but Obviously not ideal to go for a main push. If this was Roaches, if this is Mutilating Bling, which apparently Elaser's going for, and I find really surprising, then it's still a situation where you just don't want to push unless you have like a nice tank count and, well, you know, upgrades too. And there's the Marine count's not even that high, actually, as the next two barracks are just finishing up and don't have reactors yet. So Elazer switching over into Mutilating Bling, surprising to me, and probably going to be surprising to KeeN as well. Let's check here. Yeah, he's seen Speedlings, but you know that's normal. But he's not seen the Spire. He doesn't see the mutas as they run across right now. It's not that there's a ton of them, and I'm not going to like completely blindside him, but it is just something that you would have appreciated having advanced notice. So maybe at least there's one missile turret in your natural, which is where the mutas looked like they were going to go. Here he sees them for the first time, and it's going to be, I think, right now for him, like, okay, how do I play this game? Like, is he going for mutas, or is this just a once-off type of deal? Like, how much is he going to commit to this? Because it's only going to be 6 mutas, 8 mutas actually, then you can still drop. But if they're going to go for 15 plus, then dropping out would be the answer. He once again had additional bunkers. You know, he just salvaged the second one, I think. Anticipating some type of push. Now that he saw the mutas, he might be thinking there's less of one, like it's going to be more of a macro game with you know, going up to Holters and whatnot, but it is certainly not the case. Despite getting Lings and Ling upgrades, and despite going for a Spire, Elazer continued to pump into Roaches and a lot of Ravagers too. So KeeN, I'm not sure he had 100% you know, knowledge of what was going on in this game, but he also did not have a fantastic opener. Not like a terrible one, but one that didn't set him up that well. And this is just probably a very surprising attack. He tries to save the tanks. The mutas are helping out just a little bit in regards to that. The Liberators cannot do very much against these Ravagers. In fact, most of them go down. There's the last one. And KeeN, he's actually banking a ton of money because his production was not ideal quite yet. And he's gonna lose this game. Almost a third of the army supply right now. Does save the third, but not the SCVs at the third. And that's gonna be KeeN.
And that turned out pretty perfectly with the vacuum finally stopping. Oh my god, it got so fucking loud. I muted Skype too so that you wouldn't have to hear that. Anyways, 2-1 now lead for Elazer, which is kind of a big deal, as that puts KeeN on his very last life here in the finals. He will have the advantage of map pick and hopefully pick something accordingly, but we'll see what direction it goes, and we'll see you guys after the break. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're back, and y'all are under arrest for speeding. Here's the ticket. Something like that. Anyways, we're in the lobby for Ruins of Endion, and whenever the players are ready, we're good to go. Again, if you're just joining us, this is the finals for the Corsair Cup. It is currently 2-1 for our Zerg Foreigner versus KeeN, Terran, Korean.
Terran, Korean, 24 years old.
I'm just glad it's not ZVZ. Like, I really don't care about anything beyond that point. Like, Elazer can still win this. He could win it 3-0 for goodness sake. And as long as it's, like, not ZVZ, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I love seeing TvZ. I know KeeN did choose Ruins of Endion.
It's an interesting choice. So we have a tweet coming in from Stefan Barecki, and he asks, are there any discounts/coupons associated with the Corsair Cup? Looking to get a new mouse. Unfortunately, not at this time. We're actually going to skip the intro to talk about this, because this is something I've been trying to work with the folks at Corsair for. Coupons are a potential thing in the future, but right now there's no option for that. And that's not just us. Like, even the people who are bigger partners than us with them don't have coupons. But hopefully in the future, question mark. If you are looking for a new mouse, though, I can tell you the Scimitar is the one I have, and I really like how customizable it is. The it's got like the 12 buttons on the side, like a lot of MMO mice have, but you can actually slide the thing forward and back, and I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's very comfortable to use, so I can tell you that much. And the sensitivity thing is really nice, because since I've been playing Overwatch, I actually use much higher sensitivity when I'm sniping than when I'm like playing Soldier 76, but you know, whatever, you guys don't care about that. So excuse me, the only thing I really recommend is if you are going to buy stuff through Corsair, or I would ask rather than recommend, is that you scroll down on our Twitch page, click those links, and check out stuff on the website from there. And if you're short on cash, you can't buy anything right now, keep your ears to the ground. Maybe in the future, in the near future, long future, I don't know. But in the future, we'll have some codes we can give you guys. For now, though, in the bottom left side of the Corsair Cup Grand Finals, it is going to be the Orange Zerg player, Elazer.
In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, it's KeeN.
Now it is, of course, 2-1 over KeeN. So KeeN, on his last life, this was his map pick.
Yeah.
And I am really curious on the selection for it, because there are certainly some pros and cons that come with Ruins of Endion, one of them being these rocks. Again, pros and cons. Because you can knock down the rock, and the pro is, okay, you don't have to worry about rushing, but also you're going to have a little bit of trouble harassing your opponent, so a bit of a con to go with it. Commonly, we are seeing these rocks torn down here, and these rocks torn down over here, and the southern part of the map tends to be a bit more engaging than the north side. We have, in some more recent games, though, started seeing people expand more and more northwards, so maybe it's just a matter of people getting comfortable with the map. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Shoutouts, by the way, to DBDO for the 3-month resub.
DBDO.
And actually, I forget which kid it was. I was playing with the CSL kids, actually, on this map. It was the TvT, ended in a base trade, and I lost by 1 building. I went back to the replay to check. That was so fucking close. But that was one of those games where we had actually expanded northwards, which was a little bit weird. I don't know. It's actually out of my comfort zone because I've only ever played maybe a small handful of games on this map, but they've all been centered around these 2 to 3 bases. Usually I'm dead or I've all in somebody at that point, personally.
Yeah, same here. But we saw that super long game just a couple of days ago, actually.
Oh,
I got all of the bases, and that was very interesting.
Oh gosh, who was that? That was True and somebody, right?
Beastie? No. No, was it True?
I'm having brain farts. I don't remember who, but I know what you're talking about, because like we had the Zerg end up expanding like crazy, like all over, and then down here, and base denials all over the place. Like it was cool. It was a really awesome game.
Yeah, it was. If only we could remember it. But you're right. It doesn't go much past 3 bases, maybe 4, and they both were down the rocks with a smiley face.
It's on our YouTube channel, but I know this because Joey already uploaded it, and I think I'm actually gonna look this up really quick.
You're not gonna remember it. Go look it up.
No, I'm gonna go look it up. Yeah.
Okay, so we have KeeN going for a 3rd CC, which it's interesting about this map. You love or hate the new map pool.
I think it was True versus KeeN, actually, as I look back on it. Maybe? No.
It doesn't sound familiar.
I was guessing.
Okay.
This is gonna kill me. I gotta find this out. We're gonna auto follow the Hellions while I look this up, guys.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So I was gonna say, love or hate the new maps. They do provide some interesting games and points of contention and all that. So for Ruins of Endion, you can be aggressive because there's that distance between the 2 main bases, especially as a race that gets to air quickly. Terran gets the medevac, or can get the medevacs pretty quickly. Then it can be a game about just like, I surprise you with 16 Marines and 2 medevacs and you die. That has happened, but it can also be a game that goes on for quite a while because you can pick down those rocks and take 3 bases, and KeeN is going to play the macro game. So it's actually kind of up to Elazer here is what he's going to do. Takes care of the Hellions is no problem because they go on a creep. They were hoping that there was nothing available, that Elazer was going to play super greedy and maybe try and break down the rocks, and that they weren't broken down, but okay, you give up.
I don't want to have to go through every single video because we have to observe what could be the final game in the finals, so it's not that important. But shout out to Lentaro for the 12-month resub. That 1-year reunion does qualify you for a part 2. Make sure to send us a message here on Twitch. I'll respond with a form for you to fill out. Actually, that's always a little bit awkward because people will send me a message and then the message will have like all their information. And I'm like, that's no good. I need this in the form so I can like print it out.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
So it's kind of like, oh, well, thank you for taking the time to give me all this information, but I need you to give it to me again, but properly.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have upgrades for Lings, but a Roach Warren on the way as well. Now, Lazer's done this twice, I do believe. So the last game, obviously, he went for like the Ling upgrades and even some mutas, but then really it was about those Roaches and Ravagers, or most of the Ravagers, pushing in and killing KeeN on his 3rd base. But he also did it in another map, I think maybe Dusk. Yeah, it was Dusk, where this is something that we've seen lots of times. You go for the Roaches almost as, an emergency if you need them, but the upgrades are really because you want to get to Ultras, and he's getting the invitation bit, so I think it's the latter choice here. He's not going to do any Roach Ravager push that KeeN has to be scared of, and KeeN really wouldn't have to be scared of it if he had broken those rocks, but he's not bothered.
Picking up some overlords isn't too bad. That actually supply blocks Elazer, but with 5 more in the way, not that big of a deal. Helling's accidentally going to kill a creep team with some splash damage, maybe. This also might just force a pickup straight up, but that medevac's already really low because Elazer was indeed focusing it. So nicely done for that defense.
That's too bad for KeeN. Loses a lot of possible pressure and scouting. With that medevac going down, the 2 medics are already on the way, and he has stim, so he could go for, like I brought up that 16 Marine drop earlier, he could go for that drop. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any confirmation on what the tech is for Elazer. He's never scanned the main, so he has no idea if it's going to be mutas, about to catch him off guard, or it is going to be roaches and infestors, which can be microed against when it comes to medevacs. In fact, the infestors don't even have patch and blends, so they can't even fungal right off the bat.
But it's not quite going to work out. It's not a full wall off though, so the Marines are going to ditch this and go defend. That rock wall being knocked down is kind of a big deal, and KeeN actually doesn't know about it just yet. If he's listening closely, he'll be able to hear it, but not actually see it. So Marines not sitting on that cliff face trying to chase off those lings is kind of a big problem. Meanwhile, he's focused on the front line, scanning to pick off more creep tumors, but that's not that big of a deal. When there's infestors near here, you got to get the hell out.
Yeah, a little more worrying to lose those medevacs than it is for Elazer to lose a couple of creep tumors. Also losing a couple SCVs is not an immediate pull here. He thought the Marines would take care of it, I guess, but underestimated the 1-1 and the lack of combat shields on his Marines, which it's only just finishing up as we speak. 2-2 started now. Elazer's already just a little bit ahead. He's gotten to a 4th base, which that should probably be KeeN's point of drops, but I don't think he's going up there quite yet. Ultra's Cavern on the way, and KeeN probably has to just live with Ultras. Which didn't go so well last time.
No, on Dust Towers, that went miserably for him, I would argue. So that's something to definitely be concerned about. This map's also not going to cater much better. In fact, if anything, I would argue it's better for Broodlords here than it is on Dust Towers. You've got so many spots you can just kind of sit them where nothing can reach them. Not even Marines be able to stim forward.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
Oh, Twitch chat,
really
thank you. It was Bly and Lucifron.
I knew I could have sworn it was
Twitch chat.
foreigners. You know, yeah.
That's right,
okay.
game 1, because I remember we got dicked over by the DreamHack cast, and we had to pick another series, and I remember thinking like, oh, well, I'm glad they dicked us over because this ended up being a fantastic game.
Yeah. All right, so I was gonna just go ahead and be like, KeeN, build a bunker for the love of God. Like, act as if this is a regular 3rd base where you usually get a bunker.
Right, yeah.
The rocks are broken down. So again, more SCVs go down, but more importantly, his aggression has to be stalled. Not that it was very good aggression to begin with, honestly. It is just pure bio, which I feel like pure bio has a spot, especially when you get quick enough to it, you know? Because if you only go pure bio, you can get a lot. You don't have to spend money on tanks and widow mines and whatnot. But he's not very quick into it. His army supply is actually still worse than the lasers. He's pushing in.
Yeah, this is looking pretty grim, frankly. The medevac count's also really low, so there's just not a lot of healing for the stim that's going down right now.
Yeah. I mean, he could have risked like losing all the Ravagers like he did on that game on Frozen.
He just might. If you want to keep stimming,
But that was, you know, he only had Roaches and Ravagers to back himself up with. This time he has Ultras with plating. So even if KeeN is like, oh my god, great, like I'm winning. Oh, no, wait, no, I'm not. He's about to get, I think he's about to be surprised here. I don't think he's ever scouted the Hive. No, he has not.
No, so he's about to get his first glimpse of those Ultras, which is certainly spooky, and I don't know if that'll cause like a tap out per se, because he still has units to fight with, but nothing he has is going to be effective. I mean, if the Chitinous plating wasn't done, you could argue that, okay, this Bioforce could actually take this on. As we see focus fire on that Ultras, not too shabby, but it just doesn't have enough to keep this up for long enough for it to matter.
Yeah. He's about to run out of space to micro, and the Widow Mines are not heavy enough to really scare Elazer away. He's on 5 bases, or getting to 5 bases. KeeN is going to die.
Well, a little bit grim for KeeN as he scans the top left. Well played, good game. Don't know why it says good luck, because that's the end of the tournament. But Elazer will take the series. He'll be the Corsair champion for this week. But don't worry, well, he walks away with $60 for first place. KeeN will get 20 for second, which isn't too bad. Also, really quick to note, Noxiel EDM brings up in chat saying, issues with the Partoofs. So let me just put this out there as publicly as I can, guys. I ran out of packaging, and some people were calling me lazy, which I really don't appreciate because I feel like I do so fucking much. It's anything but lazy. But in this instance, the reason I don't want to go to the postal store and buy these packages is because the padded packaging there is $5 per package, right? That's $5 per Partoof coin to send out. The ones I ordered off of Amazon were like $20 for like 50. So it saves me massive amounts of money because these things are already not exactly cost effective to send out in the first place. So if you did send something within the last like couple of months, chances are you are caught up in the whole out of packaging bullshit. And I'm really pissed because the packaging was supposed to arrive yesterday. I bought it off Amazon, but if it's not going to be here in the next couple days, I will just suck it up and buy the more expensive packaging because I really don't want to keep people on the hook for months and months at a time. So I mean, we're just waiting a couple of days and then we'll start mailing them out again. But unfortunately, yeah, if you don't live in the United States, you fall under my jurisdiction, and that's sometimes not always the best case. Anyways, thank you, Nitrous Pelican. We subbed for 16 months at the end of that game, and of course, thank you all the people who have joined us here today. This is going to wrap things up for the Corsair Cup, so let me take off this silly hat and get rid of these silly glasses, because... I guess I'll keep the glasses. The glare's still coming in, but yeah, thank you to Corsair for sponsoring this cup. Sorry we don't have the awesome Corsair overlay that we normally do. I just couldn't find it in time for today, and I kind of forgot that we had a different overlay for this. So hopefully you'll see that wonderful yellow overlay come back in the future. But Corsair Gear, 10 out of 10. Recommend things like their headsets, which are awesome. Zombie and I both use them. They're wireless. They last for hours on end. They're super comfy. As a guy with glasses, and several of you may be in this situation, you know how much it sucks trying to find headsets. I could wear these all day, like literally from the moment I wake up till I go to sleep, and it wouldn't be a problem for me. So, like we said, that's going to wrap up the cast. Zombie, you got any final words, any final say about things before we go?
Follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming and on Twitch at ZombieGrub, and tune in tomorrow for Overwatch.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the Match Arena page. I want to bring that up before we go. So, again, Overwatch might not even be killer amounts of viewers, guys. Maybe we only get like a quarter of like 100 of like maybe we get 10 people tuning in. I really don't care. I really like Overwatch. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for this tournament tomorrow. So if you guys are going to tune in, if you're not going to tune in, I hope you can help us out with the Match Arena page. Many of you have already done this, so thank you God. We've raised like $297 because I put in 200 from BaseTradeTV. People donating, saw this dub, Riamar, thank you guys so much. But if you can help us out, you don't have to actually donate any of your money. So this isn't me panhandling, saying please give us money that you hardly earned and you can't part with. But Matcherino has money they're willing to part with on your behalf. And if you sign into this with your Twitch account, then click donate and use the code ONLYWATCH. It's not case sensitive. You can write it however you'd like. But ONLYWATCH just like this. Matcherino will donate $1 on your behalf. So I've already done it, but I want to use up every single coupon code they have available. I want there to be none left for tomorrow, which would be really awesome. So Matcherino.com. Someone will link that in chat. It's not the ASL link anymore. We'll get rid of that soon because we're done with ASL. But it's our OnlyWatch tournament. So again, that's gonna be tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I know ZombieGrub's looking forward to it, and I hope to see many friendly faces while we're there. But when's our next StarCraft thing, actually? This week's going to be a bit off. I thought
Wednesday is the Alima League.
Right, we had to move stuff. I'd forgotten about that. Of course, our Base Trade website calendar will be the best way to keep up to date with all of this stuff, guys. So basetrade.tv/calendar. And that way you can see all of the stuff, when it's happening, where it's happening. Dominique recently programmed his bot, by the way, to do a really sick countdown to like when the next event is. So shout outs to him. So even if you don't know what's going on casually in chat, you can be reminded. But I'll have to write that there because I didn't know we moved it. That's just 6 a.m. Pacific? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, writing that down. But then Thursday, we got Matcherino. That's right, Matcherino coming back. We got all this good stuff happening, guys. So more fun stuff as the week goes on. More StarCraft. But we will take one small day of a break for Matcherino tomorrow. So that being said, got to give some thank you to our channel sponsors all around. Corsair, obviously the biggest one we've been pushing all day. But Yord, Chairs for Gaming, G2A as well. And that's going to wrap things up. So have a nice day, everybody. We're going to find somebody to host. I'll spam some links in chat. Raid them. Spam them with some Base Trade TV love. But we're going to end the stream with a set of commercials. So take care. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Hey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corsair Cup. It is game number 1 in a best of 3. Best of 1, excuse me. Spawning here on the top left side, playing for Invasion Esports. It's going to be the Green Terran player, Acheron.
In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, it is Catatonic.
All right, I usually tell the tale of Catatonic. You tell the tale of Catatonic.
Okay, well, I guess for the YouTube gods, she's like a big fan of Crank, and that's why she's on Team Cranky, which is funny because Akron thought that I guess that
It was
meant that she
Crank. Yeah.
was Crank, but it's not true. Yeah, she showed up in a lot of these tournaments and usually gets knocked out in the first round, to be honest. But it's still cool to see her sign up for everything. And yes, we're using that pronoun correctly, which I guess
Oh my God,
we
is that a
learned like
girl?
we learned like I guess
Oh
maybe
my
like one or
God.
two casts after
Do you think
casting her
she's
for the
single?
first time. I don't know. I don't know, Merle. I
She
don't know.
sounds dreamy.
Yeah, totally. I mean, she plays Protoss though, so
So what you're saying is undateable. Understood.
literally undateable.
Shout out by the way to Gnome Skull for the 3-month resub, and the jury is in, and it seems like not a single person cares about the clapping. So it is strictly the fuddy-duddies on a C2 cast that are upset about it.
It's like the same couple of people, right? And the
It
whole
is.
like
It's one guy. I swear, it's like his life. He's like, oh my God, I hope somebody reads this message where I make fun of Rifkin and Zombie. Because I swear to God, if nobody reads this message, my life isn't worth anything. So I have to post on every video to increase the chances that somebody sees my very impertinent message.
so like first they decide like they get like the cheap blows out there, like we don't know what we're talking about, like lack of game knowledge, right? Because you can just say that for anyone and everyone believes it.
Right.
But then like that isn't really working. They're not getting a lot of like, yeah, you're totally right and whatever. So now they're gonna move on to something else. So I'm sure they mentioned like our looks at some point, I'm guessing. Oh, that's dirty. Oh, that's mean.
So I personally love this move. I've actually done this several times on the stream recently, but the way I do it personally is you put it down here and float it over so it's less easy to see. Because if you do this, and Catatonic for whatever reason just happens to float this direction with her mothership core and you lose that SCV, this really screws you. Like this really, really screws you.
Yeah. Well, it looks like she's not going to go over there to scout, put a pylon down, or anything like that. She's just taking care of her nexus. So that's going to get up and it's going to start producing Widow Mines. Now, the real trick is, seeing the Widow Mines. It sucks you don't see the factory, but as long as you can see the Widow Mines and not let them actually burrow in your mineral line, then, I mean, oh well, the factory's in your base. It looks kind of silly.
Oh, and Catatonic is unfortunately choosing a tech path currently that does not lend towards detection. If you've got a Stargate opener and you open wrongly with a Phoenix, that's fine. It can still scoop up the Widow Mine. If you open with a Robo, you get an Observer up. But because she's going for what I'm assuming was going to be a lot of adepts, unfortunately, first off, there's a bunker down here, but the map can still be abused. I'll talk about that in a moment. But this leads to no detection, so she will just bleed out in her mineral line, which is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Now, the bunker on this low ground on every other map will stop the pylon attack from coming. What is retarded is even with the changes, and I mean this cliff was added to stop this from happening, even with the changes you can still put a pylon down here out of range of the bunker and reach that depot to break the wall. So the pylon attack can still work. Now it looks like she's got some idea what's going on, so while she's not going to be able to stop this first Widow Mine, the Observer should be out in time to stop the second or the third.
She did. That's what she killed with the photon recharge.
Oh, my bad, I missed that.
The second Widow Mine. Yeah. It's gonna get burrowed. Ooh. Not anything.
Well, mildly annoying, not a huge threat.
Yeah. Well, that was the big thing, is that, like, she saw the Widow Mine go into her mineral line, which I was really worried was not going to happen. I think that was the intention of the Reaper, like, you send in the Widow Mine, I send in the Reaper, and maybe they're a little distracted. It just didn't work out that way. So while it looked really silly and it looked like a mistake, I mean, the point is nothing actually happened, and hopefully this Widow Mine doesn't actually get something.
This is something that can actually end games, though, because the problem is, like, if let's say Catatonic was going for Twilight Council tech, or just a quick blink all in or anything like that, DTs even, like, this would have just stopped her dead in her tracks. She would never have the money to build anything in time, and boy, I've seen people just leave. Not my games personally, but, like, we've cast a couple games where people have just, like, left upon scouting that factory and said, nope, fuck it, I went the wrong direction with this. So, nice recovery from Catatonic. Now, the Liberator comes in, and this is going to be annoying because she can't quite deal with it. I'd say right now it's not too pertinent to deal with it, though. It's not the biggest threat where it currently is. She can still mine off of most of the mineral patches comfortably, but no Stargate means no easy way to shoo it away. Go on, get.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a pretty perfect position. That's where a pylon has to be put down at a sacrifice of 2 probes, basically. So actually, I have to get it down. Looks like she's actually just going to kill it the old-fashioned way, so she loses a probe and a single stalker, so not really that bad. That's fine to do as well. And I mean, everything looks like it's going fine. You know, Akron, he's kind of just been going for like very light pressure though. So this is just simply like a test of can you react to very simple stuff. And well, she passed the test, but now it's to do with the macro game. And unfortunately, even though Catatonic has been doing fine, like defending wise, like taking care of the Widowmine, taking care of the Liberator, the macro has slipped. You know, she is at 34 probes compared to a Terran on 47 with mules and 3 CC.
So, just to touch base on something that happened there too, since people in chat were bringing it up briefly, more Liberator, denial on the main. When I was mentioning the factory going down and possibly screwing you, a big aspect of it is it's not your factory in the Widowmines not making Widowmines that's the problem, it's the fact that it delays your starport. You can't do follow-up harass like with these Liberators. So, again, just if that proxy had gone wrong, if the SCV had never got to complete it, this game could look very intensely different. And not because of the Widowmines, but because of the Liberators. Akron does take a third while this goes on, just kind of extending his lead here just a bit. We look at the income graph, and you can see soaringly just how large it's gotten, thanks to those Liberators. Catatonic's probe count is kind of low, and that's not entirely due to kills, but it doesn't help that the Liberators did get some kills.
Yeah, it's definitely more they messed up her macro, and that's, you know, that's something we don't usually like to talk about when we're watching, like, the tip-top of pro gamers. You just assume that they've got everything under control whilst dealing with harassment. But it is a big part, like actually keeping up with your you know, Chrono boosting the correct things, although in the case of Legacy of the Void, it's not as difficult, and actually continuing to pump up probes as well as take a third base, which during that very, like, heavy harassment but not heavy pressure, you could have taken a third base, absolutely, like, no problem, you know? She didn't have to warp in as many stalkers as she did to take care of it. But now she needs those stalkers for sure to take care of these medevacs that's dropped. Unfortunately, does not have blink, so this should be able to get out at least. Maybe kill a couple of workers. Let's just get out.
She does have some nice pylon coverage, actually, though, mostly on account of those Liberators. So, should those stalkers have not been able to respond for whatever reason, the Mothership Core overcharge would certainly help things. I think a lot of this going forward, though, for Catatonic is going to be a little bit awkward. Like, she's definitely behind in the macro game. She's behind in that third. If she wants to turn this into an all-in with those Blink Stalkers, the thing I fear most is that Akron's actually got upgrades already. And his army supply is quite large. So, I mean, it's going to take some godlike, you know, parting at his peak levels of macro to actually, or micro, to take on an army like this.
Yeah. This should be a game-ending push. The Observer sees it first. And yeah, let's email the Widowmines. Now there's,
Oh, no!
So he didn't activate into Widowmines.
At least fighting the range of the overcharge. Mothership Core does go down, Widowmines go off, and that's going to be, sadly, the end of Catatonic's life, it would appear.
Yes.
And Blink wasn't done.
I know, right? Like, at least that could have been done, seeing some cool Blink micro, but not so. Looks like he's probably surprised he's on a third base. Like, you see the Void Frost take some pretty quick ones, but
yeah,
it's not scan.
I mean, big love goes to Catatonic. She always shows up. She always tries her best, and it's always nice to see somebody dedicated to StarCraft. And that's the thing too. Like, can we just talk about how we know Catatonic's name? It's not because she's a girl, but because she just regularly shows up in these things. It's only like recently we learned she was a girl. That has nothing to do with the fact that, again, if you play in these cups regularly, even if you don't win, you can still get well known here on BaseTradeTV.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to put us into now Akron versus Ruff on Invader, which is another best of one.
Aww, Overwatch closed beta will end on April 25th.
Yeah, that's actually what that Discord message was. That pinged my phone.
Aww.
I know, right? What are we gonna do in Austin?
Well, it hit 100 at least. So I'm pretty happy about that. But
fancy.
none of that's gonna like carry over.
Right? I'm never gonna. I give up. I'm not.
I was pretty close to Masters. I got to Expert 4, and then I started falling back down. Stupid cranking Olivia, God. But I was really hoping to hit Masters before the beta goes down. I don't know if I could do that now.
I just wanted an epic skin, legendary skin, because I didn't get my